I had a girl outreach to me that I country danced with 10 years ago. We've just been friends on Facebook, and just through the things that I've posted, she said, I would love to hear your story. And I had in the back of my mind, I was like, I bet she's in another network marketing company. Well, we go meet for lunch, and sure enough, she is with another network marketing company that she's super passionate about, which was awesome. And then it came up that I'm in one too. So we just organically shared. I'm like, I'd love to support you. Throw me in any groups. Let me learn. And then she goes, tell me about yours. And she had been struggling with attention. And she felt like she was crazy. Doctors were telling her she was crazy because all of her blood work, everything was fine, but she was really struggling with attention. And she had a lot of kind of diagnoses attached to it, but just really couldn't get past it. I thankfully had 2 Axio sticks in my purse. And so I said, you know what? Take these, just throw them in water when you're feeling like you need that coffee or that tea or whatever, just throw them in your water. I get a text message halfway through the next day saying, oh my gosh, I was up at 5:30 a.m. I got my entire list done. I was so focused. Okay, I've got 2 people I need you to send samples to. And one was in Indiana and another one was here in Arizona. And then I was like, okay. And I shot her a picture of my little samples going off in the mail. And I wrote a little thing on there, get back with Carrie if you want to get $10 off your order. Well, then the next day after that, she goes, I might have to sell this stuff because I'm starting to share this with everybody. She goes, I can't wait for my shipment to come into the mail. And she ordered right then. And she ordered 2 bags of Axio plus other products. And she's like, I so can't wait for this. So she may be joining us on these calls very soon. But just having that, the Axio is a tool. People feel it. They need it. So many people are bombarded, and we totally need these products. So be aware of that. Plug people into the testimonies there. And I know for me, I don't know if we have anybody here who's volunteering and wanting to share any testimonies. So I'll just share mine. Go ahead. Did I just say? For me, I'm a big Axio testimony. I had a head injury. I had a 6-foot dead weight drop on the back of my noggin 4 years ago, and doctors couldn't help me. And getting introduced to these products, and particularly Axio, within a couple weeks, I came back. I went from 45% functionality to 75, 80%. And I was on 2 to 3 Axio a day. When I got that regimen, is 4 days in on that regimen is when my world changed. I was able to connect my thoughts again. I had energy. I'm able to talk as fast as I am now. It brought my life back. I cannot go a day without that stuff. It totally hones me in. I love that I don't get the jitters. I don't get the crash. And for me, it's one where sometimes it's that jolt of energy, but other times it's just that quick focus, and I can still go to bed at night and sleep a great sleep. It does improve mood. I mean, it's just, these things are incredible. That is an incredible product. An entire company could just be built on that product alone. And that's just one of our amazing fleet of products. So super, super cool. So we got it. So share, plug into the tools, and be so excited about this promo. Like, I can't even tell you, I'm so freaking excited. I'm learning I'm learning Facebook. I was in a job where I couldn't post. Now I can. So it's just being organic and authentic and doing it in a way. So I'm learning, but I love following all of you guys. I'm inspired by each and every one of you on this call. I think I'm friends with a lot of people, and I follow a lot of you, and you guys are just amazing. So so that's Dad, do you have anything to share? I don't think we have anybody that's come forward yet. Who wants to share Axio testimony? We got to hear these, because these help us build belief in these lovely.
I'll share next too.
Yay. Okay, go for it.
I'll share really quickly, because a lot of times we get in our heads about sharing this with our kids. And at first, I'll admit, when I started, I was selfish with my money, and I was just taking all the products and I wasn't giving it to my children. Oops. Well, my son started drinking Axio, and it was like, we went to a parent teacher conference, and somebody who had subbed in his class came to me, and she like stopped me and she goes, oh my goodness, what have you been doing with your son? And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, whoa, hi. She's like, and then she like backtracked, and she goes, I just want to tell you, like, it's not that he was ever a bad kid, but like every time I would sub, like he was super high energy. He wasn't really focused. You know, he was kind of all over the place, but then something changed. And now every time I'm in that classroom, he is focused. He's attentive. It's like he's just like more present in what we're doing. And I'm like, the only thing I changed was Axio. And I had heard this through, you know, children on the spectrum, you name it, like the children with attention stuff. And my son was never diagnosed with anything. He was just high energy. And I saw, and then I stepped back and I realized that this was the Axio, and he had been changing and just really, I mean, she noticed it. So guys, this is like real stuff. You don't have to have any kind of diagnosis or injury to notice the focus change. And when I saw it in my own children, and now I homeschool them, I'm thankful every day those kids are drinking that stuff before we sit down to study.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Yes, because there are a lot of questions. I get a lot of mamas that are scared to put their kids on it, but you can start. I mean, I've heard as young as a year and a half, 2 years old. I mean, it helps a lot. So thank you. Thank you. All right, Danny.
I just wanted to share, I don't have any crazy testimonial, but my body literally craves it at about 1 o'clock every day. You know, just before you start to just naturally go down, right? And I just love it. It gets me through the day. I have energy into the evening. I've also heard or been told that if you drink alcohol, that it's a great hydrator afterwards, double up on your Protandim as well. But that being said as well, I had a concussion last Saturday, mild concussion, and coming off my horse. And by the time I got to the hospital and everything like that, I was talking fine. And by the time the doctors viewed me and everything, I was fine. They were checking the ribs and the hip. I swear, that's because I've been on these products so long. You know, we just heal faster. Everything just improves better. So just want to throw that out there too.
Oh, I love it. Yes. Oh, Marcy. Okay, we got a Marcy Strauss who would love to share.
Hello, everyone. Okay, so I have twins that have a muscle disease, and I started them on this a year ago. And my son, every day, without question, gets all of his stuff out, drinks his Axio, doesn't fuss about anything. My girls are a different story, but my son is awesome. He came into the school year this year. He has and had an associate and a special ed teacher, and his special ed teacher 2 weeks in reached out to me and said the same thing. Like, I cannot believe like what is going on. Sid's a totally different kid. And so that was like my first light bulb moment that this is actually really working, because at home, it's just Sid to us. We don't necessarily notice, but this is somebody that's working with him. And also that was right after the summer where they had this big break. And a lot of times anybody that's got any kids with special needs knows it takes a good chunk of the first part of the year to really get them back on track again for the new school year. And so that was just huge for me. I had a girlfriend who snuck some that I had given to her son, and she's like, now I want them. So, you know, she's like, I could feel it. She's a secretary at school. So there are definitely a lot of benefits to this, and I can testify all day long for it. So it's been a blessing for us.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Thank you so much. So we have probably time for 2 more testimonies. Marisa, is Scott available? Because I'd love to hear from Scott. Marisa, we always hear from you, which I love, but I'd love to hear from Scott. We don't hear from him, and he's great to have.
Here's my man.
Woo, let's hear it. How's that helped you?
Well, I'm hearing a lot about moms putting their kids on Axio. Well, wives put their husbands on it too. So I will tell you that I've had, like many of the stories I'm listening to, I've had my bell rung a couple of times or more, and I've in the last 5 to 7 years I've had a difficult time focusing, multitasking at work, and it was becoming problematic. But I started taking and drinking the Axios religiously. I heard somebody say you crave it. I get that same sensation, that same feeling. An early afternoon, I went back to my office today for the first time to return to workplace, in more than a year and a half. And I was struggling a little bit, and I was relieved. I looked over my shoulder, and I have boxes, and I have one Axio left. It was sitting there for 1.5 years, and I was very happy because it has helped me to the energy more for me, more the focus and the ability to feel like I'm taking on multiple projects like I used to, where in the recent past I've struggled to do that. So it tastes good, it gives me energy and helps me focus. So I'm a big believer in it.
Yes, I love it. Thank you so much, Scott. That's awesome.
Life Vantage.
Ooh, yes, I love it. Not only putting their kids, but they're putting their spouses and husbands on this. I love it. All right, Addie Sue, I think you've got a testimony or two. I think it's what you said.
All right, so if I can get my dad's Fox News turned off here, right? Because this is real life and how I can get turned down here to talk. But anyway, Monday nights are my nights with my parents. So typically when I dial in, it's at my parents' house, and that's my night with them. So my Axio, real quick, you can hear me, right, Shawnee?
Yes,
Okay, I have so many Shawns in my life, I have to call you Shawnee.
that's perfect.
Okay, so my quick Axio story is that I honestly, I wasn't bought in. Like it wasn't my product. I came in for the face line, and I came in for NRF2 and got results, and I love coffee. And I'm a migraine person. So I have legit medical migraines, optical migraines that come across, my vision blurs. It's brutal. Throwing up, like everybody that has migraines is like, yeah, I know what you're talking about. So that was my deal. And Mary Beth, who is my support, along with the Pose and John and Mark and all of them, Mary Beth knows, like, she loves Axio. And I'm like, hey, that's not my gig. Like, I don't do Axio. But I will tell you all that in the last probably 3 weeks, it honestly wasn't necessarily my story, but my parents' story. They're in their 70s. And when I hear people talk about addiction, and I'm in the chat room and different things and that, and what it's done for my parents and what they have, like, my mom came out to my house today and dropped off her camper and that, and I noticed that my Axio was gone because I have a basket on my counter. And she's like, oh, I forgot to tell you, I ran out, I took all your Axio. I'm like, you left me with the decaf. I can't have decaf. Like, how dare you do that? And I laughed. So it was them that really kind of said, I was like, all right, I need to start trying this and doing this. Cause when you have migraines, if you have migraines, one of the top, side or prescriptions in that is caffeine. So, all right, I'm rambling. But anyway, my big, long story is that a couple weeks ago, I started having hot Axio in the morning. So I started getting into, so dragon fruit is not my favorite flavor at all, but I'll tell you, I like it hot. I figured out, like, finally, like, oh, I love to sip that flavor hot. So I had that in the morning, and I have not had a cup of coffee in over 2 weeks. And I have not had a migraine. So my biggest issue is if I pull back on caffeine, I get super scared and super worried because I don't want an optical, I don't want a migraine. It's debilitating. So I got really, really worried and scared, but I haven't had a migraine and I haven't had a cup of coffee in over 2 weeks. And now I'm like hook, line, and sink. And I told Mary Beth today, I'm like, we're going to like come up with a 30-day challenge. We're going to do whatever, but this stuff works, and love it. So I'm super excited for the flavors. And just my short story is that it's not always the product that you come in on, and it takes a while, but I'm sold now. Like, absolutely love it. Won't go a day without it. I have one every single morning hot, and I have one every single day after lunch cold. I'm a double a day.
Yes, I love that. Oh yeah, and one thing I was gonna do, you guys could do 30-day challenges, have fun. That was mentioned today on a call earlier, and I love that. Is challenging people, go on a 30-day, change out your Axio or Red Bull drinks or energy drinks and do a 30-day challenge and have Axio instead. What a cool thing. I love that. Oh, I love this. Well, awesome, guys. Get promoting. Again, limited resources. If you want lemonade, people who love lemonade, who are always getting Arnold Palmer's, all that stuff, talk to them, promote it because it's limited, and let's have an awesome summer with the lemonade.